Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to teach you how to flat and polish your paintwork, whether it be brand new paintwork or old paintwork. If you're new to the channel, my name's Grant, I'm a car sprayer. We buy smashed up cars, do them up, paint them, sell them, old classic cars. We do paintwork, detailing, all sorts of things on this channel. I should be saying this more often and I always forget to let everybody know what we do, what we get up to. In today's video, like I said, we're going to teach you how to flat and polish, how I do it, why I do it, in sort of simple terms that you'll all understand. I know that most of you, a lot of you won't have all of the kit that I've got, but you'll have equivalent kit and you'll be able to get through this and you'll be able to do this. So this is my easily explained masterclass, should I say. So yeah, let's crack on with the video. Right, let's give you a quick flat and polishing masterclass, shall we? I'm going to start out showing you the bits that I'm going to use to flat the new paint down, whether it be new or old, it'll be the same. Flat the paint down, what I'm going to use to polish the paint up, and how I do it and why I do it. So I'm going to start out with this. We don't need to do much correction or cutting and polishing on this paint. The paint is pretty good straight off the gun. I'm not aiming for a glass-like finish. I do still need some orange peel in this to match the rest of the vehicle. So I've opted for using my DA sander, dual action sander, to sand this down with some Abralon pads, they're called. So they're like a sanding pad, like foam backed. You don't have to use these and a sander. You can just use some wet and dry and sand it by hand. I totally understand that not everyone will have a sander and have, be able to do it this way, but it is the same principle with wet and dry paper. You'll be using 2000 grit. You can get 2500 grit and 3000 and 4000 if you really wanted to carry on up that. I'm only using these pads because that's what I've got out, but yeah, in general it'll be the same principle. When you're sanding it, you're not digging into the paint, you're just lightly using the sandpaper. You're letting the sandpaper do the work and you're keeping it sort of lubricated with the water, as we'll explain in a mo. So yeah, you don't have to use them, but that's what I've chosen today. These are just made by Merca. There are other brands that make similar things. I believe these are kind of not a copy, but the same design as a product that 3M does called a Trizac disc. This particular box of Trizac I've got here in a 1500 grit. We're not going to use 1500 grit, it's too aggressive for my application, for what I need. So we're just going to use my little Merca ones. These have already been used. When they're not dead, I put them in the pot and I just reuse them. So I'm going to use my dual action sander. This is also made by Merca, but this one specifically is my finishing sander. Now it sounds crazy, now not a lot of you may know, but there's different types of sanders. So for argument's sake, my normal sander, which is also a Merca, this one is used for more cutting power. This is an electric one, and this has got a 5mm throw, hence the 5.0 on there. Now that is giving it a deeper scratch as such. This sander is a 2.5mm throw, which is more for refining. So I know most of you that are non-painters or detailers, you just think that a sander's a sander. It doesn't actually work that way. If I was to use my 5mm throw, sanding this down, it would leave what they call pigtails in it. You'd be able to see where I've sanded, and it's not as refined. So I always like to use my 2.5mm finishing sander. It's not as aggressive for when I'm doing flat and polishing stuff. So just for ease of use, because we're not trying to correct a finish as such, we're just denibbing it and giving it a buff back up. We're going to run over with 2000 soft pad, and you'll see that I've got a bottle there. Ignore the label, that's just water. it will be, you'll see what I'm doing. We're just going to be spritzing the panel. With these, you're using like damp, not soaking wet. So we'll be spritzing the panel, spritzing this pad and sanding it down. So once I'm done with 2000, we'll buzz over with a 3000 and then a 4000, only because I already had one out and it's a black. The smoother you can sand it, the easier the polishing will become. And it just makes your life easier, if that makes sense. So if I was to sand it with 1500, it'd take me a hell of a lot of polishing to remove all the scratches and make it look flawless. So that's what we're going to be using. Polishing, I'm trying to get my money's worth out of this pad. It's nearly dead, but we'll clean it out. So I have gone through many pad combinations and different pads, and I'm kind of really liking the Rupes pads. Not because I've got a Rupes polisher, just because they're good pads. I am using the Rupes polisher. This is my rotary, really good polisher, to be honest. I've gone through many cheap polishers and I ended up giving in. This is the LH19E rotary polisher. I ended up spending a fair few quid on that one. Over the years, I used to just buy cheap 50 quid polishers, but I'd murder them. But I will admit, years ago I had to do a lot of correcting paintwork that I've not made look correct. It's the easiest way to say it. When you haven't nailed it, when you're a painter, I mean, I'm going back donkey's years. I used to have to flat and polish anything to make anything look good. But more you paint, and as the years go by, you get better and learn and master your sort of trade. You can get a gun finish which is as good as the next person's. So I don't actually flat and polish as much as I used to, but I'm still fed up with buying sanders and they just don't last. So I ended up buying a more expensive one. So that's what we'll be using today. And the choice of compounds and pads that I've gone for. So these two pads are Rupes. This is for cutting. This is like your middle one, like refining as such. And this is just what I've been using. I'm not going to get a new one out. This is a Hex Logic. This is a finishing pad, super soft. So I'm going for 3M Fast Cut Plus Extreme compound. Be warned, this does have fillers in it. I've got my panel wipe here. I'll show you when I polish something up. I wipe the polish off, then I panel wipe it, which will remove any fillers that's left behind by that, so you can really see what your panel is looking like, the true state of it. If you don't remove the fillers, you might come back 2 weeks later and the fillers will be washed out of the panel and you'll see sanding scratches. So just be warned, it's a really good product, but make sure you be mindful of the fillers in it. If you remove them to see where you actually really are, rather than it giving you a false sense of security, thinking it's all buffed up and looking well, whereas actually it's the fillers making it look like that. So yeah, that's what we're using for cutting. Then I'll refine it down with their Extra Fine Plus. This is, if you look on the scale of this, the green one is that, the yellow one is their middle version, which is this. They've got a blue version which I have got in now, but for finishing, for the final polish, I'm going to use some Sonak's Perfect Finish. This works really well on black vehicles and it leaves a real nice gloss, so that's what I've chosen today. I do have dual action polishers as well. I don't use them that often. I used to do a bit more detailing than I currently do. Let me show you my detailing cupboard. So that's the bag for my rotary polisher. Move that. So I also have a Mark III Bigfoot. Bear with. Hold on. Let me get it out. Right, there we go. So I also have the LRH15 dual action polisher by Rupes. I think it's their current model. And I also have, under here somewhere, I've got the Mini as well. There we go. So I've got their LRH 75E, and this is also their latest one, I believe. I do use them, but not as often as I did do. Plus, hold on, let me put this back. Plus all my other sort of detailing equipment. So that's the finishing one from 3M. I use all sorts of combinations. Got scan grip lights and what have you. What's that doing over there? So compound wise, we've got raw G10 extreme cut. Obviously the trio that we're using at the minute, bar the finishing one from 3M. I've got the Forekla G360 system, which is also really good. Like I said, different paint responds to different compounds and stuff. If you don't know that, not one compound would just work for every vehicle. We've got some Meguiar's mirror glaze ultra cut compound. That's actually a really good compound and leaves you with a really good gloss level, and then you can use their second stage as such, which gives you even more gloss. Really good, really handy to have in your arsenal, as they say. I don't know where all my Manzana's disappeared to, and my Koch Chemie. I'm actually confused as to where I've left all of this. I did have a full set of my Koch Chemie, and I don't know where they are. Koch Chemie is another really good one. Manzana is another really good one. I have got all three in their lineup somewhere, but I have no actual clue where they are. They should be in there and they're not. Yeah, as well as all my other sort of bulk chemicals. I use Built Hamber, Auto Smart and Auto Bright are my main sort of chemicals that I use for stuff. But I've got more up there, more up there, more up there. But like I said, I don't do nowhere near as much detailing sort of stuff as I used to do. I just don't have the time anymore, and now that's confused me where all my compounds are. I'll have to find them and go from now. So the first thing I'm going to do, because this car sat here overnight, there'll be little dust particles and what have you on it. I'm just going to give it a quick blow down, and then I'll probably use the new cloth and I'll just give it a little dust over before we start, because you don't want to start sanding dust into your fresh paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the process with a 2000 grit. Let me clean it down a bit. I'll 2000 grit it and then show you where we're at, and we'll go from there. There we go, guys. That's all sanded with 2000 grit. That's the kind of look you're looking for: flat, dull and uniform. And remember, only sand what you intend to polish. So the top step there, done a little bit out there, then I'm going to polish, and then the rest of this rear quarter. You can technically just polish that straight up now and that'd be fine, but like I said earlier, I only throw these away when they're dead. They don't get a lot of use. They get put back in the drawer afterwards and they're good to be used again. And black is renowned for showing scratches and stuff, so we're going to go 3000 next, then finish on a 4000. But depending on how far you want to go, I want this to have some orange peel in it. You can carry on going flatter if you wish to, bearing in mind if you're using old paint or new paint, it will be the same procedure, and then you'll see bits of orange peel. It's hard to show on the camera. I'm trying to leave some in because Mercedes and smart cars are renowned for having heavy orange peel, and I can't do this like glass if the other side has got loads of orange peel. So that's good enough for me on the cutting with 2000. Now the purpose of using 3000 and 4000 is just to remove the 2000 scratches, make it finer and finer, and then when you when you get to your polishing stage, it becomes a lot easier for you to polish and make it look really nice. So I'll save you the hassle of time-lapsing me up gritting this 3000 to 4000. I'll just do that and we'll cut back in a mo. There we go, that's all sanded up to 4000 grit now. So if you notice, it's starting to look shiny again. Don't worry about that, that's normal. If you are going to go all the way up through to 4000 grit, it essentially starts to kind of polish it. I know that there are other pads you can go above 4000, up to 8000 odd, I believe, if you needed to. I don't see that you need to do that. That is plenty good enough, and I'll only really go to this effort on a black car, but in general it goes a hell of a lot higher, but for me that's plenty good enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the polishing stage now. I'm going to put my cutting pad on, clean it out quickly, and then we'll show you how to start polishing it and what I do. So let me get that sorted, I'll be back in a mo. Right, I'm going to show you, I've just given the pad a blowout with the airline. It's always important to use a clean pad and to clean out regularly. I know loads of people don't and they leave them all gunked up. Compound. So if this will come out, I'm going to start on a pillow, so I'm only using a couple of little blobs. But in general, you do not need loads and loads and loads of compound. And to start out with, we're going to turn this right down. I only really use on the repairs. I only really use it on speed 1 to 3. You do not need this fast. I always start on the lowest speed to work the material into the panel, and then I'll slowly turn it up. Be mindful of your edges. If you stay on your edges too long, this can burn through the new paint or old paint. So be very careful on the edges, don't hold it on there for long. We're not putting any pressure on this, we're going to let the machine do the work. I'm just going to hold it on the panel gently and go up and down slowly. I'm going to leave this running and show you what I do. First of all, just going to get some compound onto the panel, and it travels a long way. So, all I've done now is spread the compound up the panel, and we've got compound on the pad and we've got compound on the vehicle. And now I'm going to turn my speed up a little bit and start working the panel. Right, that's the first pass. Now, it's looking quite shiny already. I've stopped because I can see that my compound is starting to wear out. Now, what I mean by that, the abrasive itself diminishes and you work it into the panel and it disappears as such. Now, if you keep on going until it disappears, then you're not effectively doing anything other than getting your paint very, very hot for no real reason. So this is what I call my first pass. Now, this is done, I like to use an 80% overlap. Now, this is open for debate between detailers and stuff like that, and it might be a bit technical. What I mean by that is when I'm polishing, I will polish said area and then I'll move my polisher down a little bit, technically about 20%, but if you're going the other way, it'd be, you'd keep 80% in the same area, if that makes sense. So I'll be polishing there, move it to there, move it to there, so it's effectively still going over the same area but a different part. Now that might be a bit too technical for some of you guys, but some of you that are into detailing and stuff like that, it might be useful. And all I do is I break it down into little sections. So I've done from there to there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to polish this off, or wipe this off, and then we're going to move along to that section, then we go down and down, and we'll get everything done on the first pass, like it's first go, and then we'll go back over it. But once we've done it, we're going to panel wipe in between. So let's just say this is the first set. So in between sets, we're going to panel wipe everything back off once we've wiped the residue. So I'm going to work my way around, and then we'll wipe it, and then we'll come back for the second go. What I call my first set. So it's looking nice, it's looking shiny. Outside it's looking better. Under these lights is a bit of a nightmare because it shows everything, but essentially you'd think that that's all good after one go. Now let me panel wipe it and I'll show you what we can see. Okay, I just panel wiped it, so the majority of it still looks nice and shiny, but when you start looking into it deeply, that's flat, this is still flat, you'll see like haziness, this is still flat in this section, same there. I can see in the step it looks hazy to me. It's hard to show on camera, but it's revealed that there's still flat bits there. So across there is a flat bit. It does essentially look shiny and all polished up, but it's not. It still needs more work. Now if I didn't panel wipe that, you'd think, oh, it's really glossy and it's nice just after one go. Now this is the problem that a lot of people have, because they don't understand that the abrasives have fillers in them, and that's what makes it look shiny. You don't want to just buff that up, think it's done, drag it outside, a week or two later all your sanding marks have come back. So it's very, very important. I've just got into the habit, after every set I'll panel wipe down, see the real depth, shininess, the gloss of the paint without the fillers in it, and then see how much more work I've got to do. I'll carry on doing that until I panel wipe it and it stays fully glossy and there's nothing. So I'm going to crack on, get the next set done, and then we'll compare it, we'll have a little look, and go from there. When I'm totally happy with the first stage, the compounding, the cutting, then and only then we'll move on to the sort of refining stage. So I'm going to go buzz around this now quickly, give it a second go, and then we'll come back, see what it looks like. There we go, second set done. It's looking nice and shiny. We've got good gloss levels, as you can see. The majority of it's okay. You can see some haze in here. That's fine. It's not flat. When you use a rotary, you will induce swirls and hazing. Have you ever seen a car in the sunlight? It's like buffer trails in it. That is essentially what that is. And the way that you get rid of it is we use the next stage up, which will be the refining stage. I haven't panel wiped this yet, so what we'll do is we'll panel wipe it. We'll see if we can find any sort of flat spots. I'm okay seeing sort of buffer trails in it, a bit of light hazing, that's fine with me, because I know that the next stage will remove it. It's totally normal. Let's panel wipe this, then we'll have a little look and see if we can find any flat spots. If we can't, and you're happy with the gloss, which I am, then we'll move on to the next stage and we'll start refining it and start making it look crisp and nice again. So let me panel wipe that, pop back in a sec. Okay, that's all panel wiped down. And from what I can see, there are no flat spots. It's looking good. We've got good gloss levels. A little bit of buffer trailing, but that's fine. The next stage will remove all of that. So I'm really happy with that. So if you get to that stage, then you're ready for the next stage along, which will be our middle one. We're going for this Extra Fine Plus for our refining. And when I say refining, if you don't know what that means, with the cutting, the compound stage, you essentially put in very small swirls and scratches into the paintwork. It's quite hard to see on a black, but if we was using an inspection torch or something like that, you'd be able to see it. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to spark a debate here between detailers and valeters and people. It bugs me a little bit because there's companies out there. My friend does it. My friend's going to have the hump with me saying this. They offer like an enhancement detail, paint correction. Well, no, paint correction's paint correction. You either do it properly or you don't do it. I understand not everyone's got the same, the right budget, and they don't want to pay someone like me, not necessarily me, but a detailer that does this day in, day out, to do a full-on paint correction, like sand it, cut it, refine it, and finish it. Like, I get that. There's guys out there who just run around your motor with the middle stage, which is a bit of cut and quite a bit of gloss, and they just call that like an enhancement detail. If you're going to polish the paint and get the marks out, take them all out. That's the whole point of it. I don't even know why it exists. In my eyes, if you're going to do a paint correction, there is only one process. That is cutting it, refining it, and polishing it. But all these new detailing guys of the recent years, they're now offering like an enhancement stage. Basically they'll polish it with like that, for argument's sake, what we was just saying, that middle section. Many brands. You could use one of the Maguire's ones that I showed you, which has got like a medium cut and a good gloss, and they're taking old faded tired paintwork, buffing it up, but leaving all the imperfections in, but still looks glossy and shiny. I do get that, and I know there's a market out there for it, but you're doing a quarter of a job. You're not doing a whole job. It's not paint correction, and I don't know why this exists in the detailing world, but it does. It's one of them. But I'm just trying to show you guys who want to learn how to do this, how to do it correctly. There is only one way. You can bypass some of these steps, but you're not doing it. So it's kind of pointless flat and polishing something, in my eyes. It's just my opinion. If you're a detailer, crack on, leave me a comment. I know it's coming, but there is a market for it. People don't want to pay for a full-on paint correction, and I understand that. But yeah, in my eyes, if you're doing a job, you do it properly, and that's it. So yeah, there we go. The arguments may start. We're going to move on to the refining. Nice, simple, easy, this one. It's a lot faster than doing the cutting stage. All we are doing with the refining process is we are removing the imperfections that we have put in the paint by using a cutting compound. So this will take away the marks that we've induced by using that. It's essentially like sanding. We've gone from 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 on the car. Let's just say hypothetically, this is just for an example to explain to people that don't understand. We've just used 5,000 on there. We're now going to 6,000 there and 7,000 there. That's essentially what it's like. So that's quite rough. That's cut the paint back. It's brought it back to life, and then that gets smoother and smoother as you work your way along. So we're going to start refining this now. I'll probably put it on a little bit of time lapse. It's nice and simple. You haven't got to be too aggressive with it. Same thing again. I'm going to let the polisher do the work. I'm just going to clean my pad out. So we're going to change pad, use this, and we're going to just put it on and plod along, going through it. And all we're essentially doing is trying to remove the marks that we've put in there ourselves. So it's not very difficult to do. I'll chuck you on time lapse quickly. We'll buzz around this. 9 out of 10 times, you've only really got to refine it once. You shouldn't really have to do loads and loads of passes. So I'll show you what I do and we'll go from there. That's that stage done. I've just got to buff it off and then we'll take a look at it and see what it's like. And I'm going to panel wipe it. You don't have to panel wipe at this stage because you know you've brought the paint up and it's okay. But I am going to just see if I've got any more buffer trails in it. And if I have, then I'll go back over it. So I'm going to just buff this off and give it a panel wipe and I'll pop back. There we have it. That is the refining sorted. As you can see, it's a lot more gloss to the panel. It's brought a bit of depth to the paint itself, and it's looking very well. So what we'll do now, I'm happy with that. I have panel wiped it as well. Is we'll move on to the finishing stage. I've put my soft pad on, and for this we're going to use the Sonax Perfect Finish. Got a really nice gloss to that as well, and then we should have the finished product and the car should be looking quite nice. It is getting quite hot in here now. We're nearing lunchtime and we're nearly at 25 degrees. Yeah, let's crack on. I'm going to do the same procedure again, similar sort of speeds, put some Perfect Finish on that, and then we'll see what it looks like. See you in a moment. And there's the finished results. As you can see, the gloss levels are really, really good. Bearing in mind that I kept loads of orange peel in this because the rest of the car's got loads of orange peel. But as you can see, it's shiny. You see reflection in it everywhere. Polish here, I've got to wipe off. So if you do it correctly and you use half decent products, you shouldn't have a problem with flat and polishing your vehicles. There's no magic wizardry, just using the correct products in the correct order, and that's the kind of results that you can achieve. If we was going for a show car, then it would be painted different, obviously, and we could go to the extreme measures of getting it absolutely flawless and absolutely the best we possibly could. But it's a little smart car and it's come up really well, and it's going to last, it's going to stay up. By panel wiping in between sets and removing the fillers from the products, the fillers have got, you know, they've got a purpose, they're there for a reason. But just being mindful and knowing that they're there and removing them to check your progress and the condition of your paint and moving forward like that, you shouldn't have a problem. You should be able to achieve some decent results. So I hope you learned something from that today. If you've got any questions, leave me a comment. I know the detailers are going to go in on me about their enhancement details, but it is what it is. I'm only telling the truth. You know, it's one of them things. When did quarter of a job become a job? Yeah, that's just how I look at it. If you're going to do a paint correction, this is the same process, and this would be a paint correction. You do the whole job, or you don't do the job. It's as simple as that in my eyes. That's how I look at it. But yeah, this is a very, very long video. I really hope you enjoyed it and you learnt something from it. And we'll try and cover some more grounds on other videos like this, other parts of the painting process, cleaning, etc. in the future. And as always, a massive thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel and you're not already subscribed, hit that button. And if you enjoyed the video, share it about your social media. And I await the detailers crying in the comments. As always, a massive thanks for watching. See you very soon on the next one. Stay safe and be lucky.